All right, it's Ian Koniak, and we are here with John Israel, a friend of mine and the author of Mr. Thank You Project. So today we're going to interview John. He's a really special and awesome human, and I think you guys will learn a lot today from him. So without further ado, Mr. John Israel, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, why don't you just start by introducing yourself and kind of sharing what prompted you to even write this book in the first place, and what's the book about for those people who may not know you?
Sure. Yeah. So the book, it's called the Mr. Thank You Project, and it's a story of a personal social experiment I started in 2016, where I made a commitment to handwrite 5 thank you cards every day for 365 days in a row, which adds up to 1,825 handwritten letters of appreciation out in the world. And that came about because really the first experience I had of the power of the handwritten note was way back when I was an early salesperson. I was like 19 years old, selling Cutco knives house to house as a college student, and I lived in San Diego at the time. And I remember going to meet a customer, and sometimes you meet those customers you just instantly connect with.
Sure.
Right? They're just really easy to build rapport. Someone's name was Cynthia. She was a single mom. She had 2 boys. She was a nurse, and she was just like a really good human being. Just one of those people you meet, like just conversation flows. We're talking about her goals, her dreams, her boys she was so proud of. They were moving out of the house, and just really connected on a human-to-human level. And then at the end of that, she placed an order for a modest amount of Cutco knives, which was great. And then from that, what was really interesting was a day later, I get a phone call. And she says, hey John, I need you to cancel my order. And it was a real shock because to me in my career, no one had ever canceled anything. Mm-hmm. And so any salespeople who are watching will understand the impact of losing a sale, that experience of the anger, the frustration, the confusion, like why did this happen? What did I do? What did I say? And I remember, she just said, hey, cancel my order. And so I did that, but I still was thinking about it. I was still bothered by it because and what I got to is it wasn't as much that I lost the sale, was that I lost the connection. It was like this really cool human being that suddenly I kind of felt like, yeah, whatever, I lost the commission on it, but I just felt now it'd be awkward to even see or talk to them again, right? Yeah. So I can't really tell you what possessed me to do this, but I went to my mom's desk and I grabbed some of her stationery and I wrote this woman, Cynthia, a thank you card. Mm-hmm. And thank you for what, right? She didn't actually buy anything, but I just wrote a simple note that said something like, dear Cynthia, I just want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day to meet with me. Let me do my presentation for you. I loved hearing about your boys you're so proud of, and hearing about your life and your job. And I know right now is not the time for you to be buying anything from me, but I just want to let you know I really enjoyed getting to meet you. And if there's anything I can do for you in the future, feel free to let me know. Mm-hmm. Sincerely, Cutco John. That's how I signed everything back then. Yeah. And I sent the letter. 2 things happened. One is I instantly felt better. Like there was that pain, that sort of like suffering I was putting myself through of like why did this happen? It just kind of went away, and it was like, you know what? I'm just gonna like let this one go and move on. The second thing that happened was 2 years later I was in my college dorm room, because again I was 19 when this happened. So I was 21 and I was in my college dorm room, and I got a call out of nowhere. And the woman, I answered the phone, and this woman says, hey, is this Cutco John? I was like, yes, it's Cutco John. Who's this? And she says, well, might not remember me, but my name is Cynthia, and I tried to buy some knives from you several years ago, but I had to cancel my order. Can I still buy some from you? I was like, yeah, of course. What do you want? And she like has this laundry list of what she wanted, and it was about to be one of the biggest sales of my entire career. And I was really blown away. I remember sitting there in my dorm room just like thinking like, why is this happening right now? It just seemed like out of nowhere. And then she says, John, do you know why I'm calling you right now? I said, I have no idea. She says, well, what I couldn't tell you all those years ago is the reason I had to cancel my order was because I had just found out that I was extremely sick. Mm-hmm. And I was so sick I actually had to leave my job. And I was so sick that my boys had to move back into our house to take care of me while I went through treatment. And the last thing I wanted to do was cancel my order. I just really had to. But when I got that letter from you, what I saw was that you valued me as a human being more than a customer. And I told myself, when I get healthy one day, I'm going to call this kid and I'm going to buy every damn knife he's selling. Yeah. And that's what happened. And it was just this really powerful experience as a young salesperson to learn a valuable lesson, which is that when you treat people more important than profit, you learn that it's people who actually bring you your profit. It's about human connection. It's about how you make people feel. It's about that experience. And so that kind of stuck with me in my career. And I was looking for something, a big mission, big project to work on for a year, and I settled on this concept of thank you cards were a really impactful thing, and I love habits. I love to have good habits, so I just decided to make a habit for 1 year to write 5 thank you cards every day for a year. That's the opening story of how I got started, and then it created a kind of a crazy movement after that.
And I know this is something, I'll just say I'm doing a 365 day of daily videos, and that was inspired by your habit of writing thank you cards every day. So by you doing that, you just are reaching 8,000 people through my videos now that are inspiring lives throughout the world. And you may not realize that, but that was the inspiration for my challenge, is what can I do every day that'll make an impact and serve others for 365 days. So I just want to let you know that you're the origin of all this in this page. So tell me, that habit, right, of having to write those thank you cards every day, what was kind of the biggest lesson you learned during that year because I imagine that took a lot of discipline, and it took a lot of that's a long time to do it, and I feel it with my videos. So what was kind of the biggest struggle during that time, the biggest challenge you had, and the biggest lesson that you learned through the process of doing that?
So there's 2 things, and I love that for you were like, hey, I love this idea, but you didn't decide to write thank you cards every day. You found your own thing that was of value to you. And I think that's what I want people to get, is that there is it's about finding what you value, and finding being clear about what you value, and finding a way to honor that every day. And when you do that, what happens is there's this tremendous amount of learning, right? So if someone values education and teaching like you do, you're gonna learn a crap ton of stuff by making a video every day, right? There's another guy that I who heard about the story, and he had this commitment to for people to experience God's love. And so what he committed to doing was every day he would feed somebody new, and he would ask, and then he would pray for them. And he lived in San Francisco, and so he would go around, and he would literally meet homeless people. He'd bring food with him every day, and he would give someone a piece of food or a sandwich or whatever, and then he would get to know them, ask them questions, and say, hey, how can I pray for you? And then he would do that, and he just talked about how transformative that was for him to be in the act of his value every single day, because it's so easy for anyone to say, oh, I value this or I value that. Well, at the end of the day, it's like, well, what do you spend your time and your money on? And that's going to show your true values. And so for me, I couldn't say that I honestly, I thought gratitude was great. It was good to appreciate what you have. But I was at a stage of kind of lack of fulfillment in my life, and really a lack of happiness. And so for me, this was an opportunity to put my money where my mouth is, and to say, not just say I value gratitude, but to embody it. So I would just encourage people, find what you value and find a way to make that a habit in your life. And what you'll learn, as you might have learned, Ian, is that it's hard.
Sure is.
Because the real question that came for me, that would probably come for anyone who takes on a big project, is how do you do it when you don't want to? In other words, how do you be grateful when you don't feel like it? Right? Just because I said I want to be grateful all the time doesn't mean I didn't have traffic, doesn't mean I didn't have more clients who canceled business or didn't show up for meetings. It doesn't mean that I had a perfect marriage with my perfect children. It still meant things were hard, but with the commitment of having to honor the value, it really there's this crucible of learning people go through, where when you make a big commitment with your life, you change, because who you've known yourself to be can't continue to exist as you know yourself in the process of staying to your commitment. So there were times when I just didn't want to write thank you cards. Well, what a lot of people don't know is that I had a commitment that every day I had to write 5. And if I didn't write 5 in a day, I had to donate $1,000 to charity. So that's what was at stake every day. So there's no way I wasn't going to do it. In the process of not wanting to be grateful, I was forced to say, okay, I don't want to be grateful, but I got $1,000 on the line. What's in the way here? What's holding me back from really appreciating my life or appreciating people? And that's where the learning was. And I would say that was the biggest challenge, but also one of the greatest lessons is how do you honor your commitments when you don't want to? And I think that's relevant for anybody, what they do with their sales goals, with their life, with anything they take on.
That's right. I love it, John. Thank you so much. We're
Yeah,
out of
thanks for having
time
me.
right now, but appreciate you sharing and inspiring so many people. And hopefully for people watching, what can you commit to for your straight that will honor your values? Take care.